young man with a vision, in the midst of indecision, feeling like he may never fly. Anxious and afraid about the plans he's never laid, and all the things he's never tried. Oh, won't you take me? Come on and take me. Take me. Take me Young man with a vision, in the midst of indecision, feeling like he may never fly. Anxious and afraid about the plans he's never laid, and all the things he's never tried. Oh, won't you take me? Come on and take me. Take me. Take me home. Young girl with a dream to see the place she's never seen. Nowhere in this world she'd rather go. But she left one thing behind, and it's the hardest thing to find. How long will it be till she knows? Oh, won't you take me? Come on and take me. Take me. Take me home. Come on and take me. Take me. Won't you take me? Take me home. Take me home. Why are we so alone? Adrift out on our own. When darkness closes in, apocalyptic dreams begin. Is there something I might find to help me leave my fear behind? Won't you guide me in the night? A faithful, hopeful, shining light. Young man all alone, trouble cuts him to the bone. Nothing he would rather do than die. As he spins out of control, he hears a voice inside his soul. Once again he finds the strength to try. Oh, won't you take me? Come on and take me. Won't you take me? Take me home. Come on and take me. Take me. Take me. Take me home. Take me home.
And they're off.
Happy Tuesday!
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Children of the Lawn!
Oh, children of the
See how
lawn.
many of these children are in here? Kitty, Michael.
Take me.
What did it say? Brenda. Sue, I saw. We got 3 children, no, 4. Gail. Tonight. So far, some of them. Oh, Mark Visconti. Okay,
Yeah.
he's in
Oh,
there.
yeah. Good. Yeah.
Okay.
Got children.
Okay.
And there's the
Because
theme
you
song.
know what happens when there's empty lawn chairs sitting around for a while?
They get moved.
They get given to other people.
They get taken away. You don't use your chair. Someone else.
Pat Romano says, "Here, we're not going to take your chair, Pat." And Gail wants to be right next to you.
Yeah. So but we understand. There's a little.
Michael Newton said, "Haircut."
Oh yeah,
He says,
haircut.
OMG, haircut.
Well, no, I have it back in a ponytail, but yeah.
No. He did have to put it back in a ponytail last week because it was driving him crazy.
I couldn't deal with it, and my hair curls up. I mean, if I don't brush through it, it'll just keep curling up.
In 2 weeks, it'll be back to like it was.
But it was like I felt like it was horrible. I mean, I gotta tell you guys, it was not like because it wasn't late.
My hair.
I needed a hair. It was my annual haircut, and thank you very much.
When we went to Valentino.
Right, Claus, Valentino.
Yeah. We're going to have him on the show because he plays accordion.
Yeah, and you know the difference between an accordion and a banjo, right?
What?
An accordion burns hotter.
When you set it on fire. He told that to Valentino.
And, that's,
He laughed
and that
very
cost
hard.
me a couple of inches.
Oh my gosh! But he's got some stories too.
Oh, he does have stories.
Yeah, like we thought you were bad when you and Larry showed up to a gig and it said Rat Race Choir next Friday. It was the week after. Well, Valentino and his friends did
Showed up
that,
a year early.
but it was a year before.
Oh no! We're
But
booking
we-
you for next year.
We'll have to have him tell the story.
He's funny, man,
He is funny.
and talented. I mean, if you know.
He's a cool dude. Oh, Kitty says she loves your haircut.
Well, thank you.
Mark was
Because
kind.
otherwise you'd be hating it.
Lori, let's see your haircut. No, how about no?
You know, there's her haircut right there. Looks just like that. You want to see Lori's haircut? I'll show it to you. I'm thinking it pretty
Okay,
much
so-
looks like that too, doesn't it?
I don't know what this means, but
Yeah.
Tim said me just.
That's Lori's haircut.
What?
You know, watch your screen for a minute.
Oh. I see Remy.
Here it comes. That's Lori's haircut. Okay,
Yes, that's my haircut.
so
Okay,
back to
so,
our regularly scheduled
Tim
program.
says me just had a haircut 18 without the tip. Oh, okay. So that in Tim speak that means it cost $18 without the tip. That's what I get from that.
Okay,
Yeah?
that's fine. That's good.
I think he's like millennial.
Yeah. Now, see, I have to go to the Shishi Italian guy.
And
No.
Char's in here. LL, did you cut Steve's hair?
Wow.
Wow. Does it look bad?
Wow, that's kind of a. Hair look bad, man?
Because if I cut it,
Is it on
it
straight?
would look like a 4-year-old cut it.
Yeah.
I can't even tear tin foil straight. Kitty,
Yeah, no,
very
there'll
nice.
be no
I
hair in
didn't
this.
cut it. I didn't. Kitty said, very nice haircut, Lori. I didn't do it.
She
Valentino
didn't do it. Valentino
did
did
it.
it.
A professional did it.
Professional person
Yes.
who cuts hair. The
Yes.
Valentino, the famous, very famous
Steve
Valentino.
would not let me get near his hair with scissors. I have offered,
Yeah.
and he was like, no!
But, yeah, no, it was just it was a little out of control.
And I
It was-
tend to be a little clumsy, so I might slip
And stab
poke
me in
him
the eye.
Oh, thank you, Shar.
Well,
We got some sauce from Shar.
there's-
Okay.
So, let's see. Oh, I have Angus's thing I'm supposed to play.
Angus.
Where
See,
is
Angus
it?
put mustache and goatees on.
Well, he's challenged. The
From
boy is
last night.
challenged. Well, I screwed this up, didn't I?
I don't know, what'd you do?
No, I didn't do it yet. I'll fix it.
So then you didn't screw it up?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's what I like, the positive attitude.
I have one.
You do.
I really do.
Okay. Yes, you really do. Well, why shouldn't you? Why should you not have a positive attitude? You.
Okay, so Sue,
Okay, so here-
the hair stylist,
Yes.
a professional, says you went from full to less full, so that's why it's so different. Well,
We talking about of shit or hair?
he's always full of shit, but hair.
Where is my thing?
Yeah, his
Oh, there
hair
it is.
towards the bottom tends to be very thick.
It gets like I start to feel like I don't even know. I can't make any jokes. Although the guy on the Oscars that won, best. Who's the guy that played the father in Coda?
I don't
I
know.
was starting to feel a little like that. I'm telling you.
He says to me, well, now at least I look like I'm supposed to be on our property.
Well, yeah. If I saw somebody with that haircut on our property, I would
With
not.
your old hair.
Right. If I yeah, all right. I'm not gonna. Here we go. Ready? Set. You see, I did not. This is our guest for tonight. Boom.
Jim Dianna.
Right. That's
Or
pretty
Dianna.
interesting guitar. La Dianna.
La Dianna.
Yeah, I think. Okay, there he is communicating through the guitar.
He lives
Now you
in
see.
Costa Rica.
Now here's the thing. Waddy Wachtel no longer has a mustache and a beard. What is
Yeah.
wrong with you, Angus?
Really.
No, I don't. What's this?
And this guy,
Okay.
Jim, doesn't have the one that Waddy had either.
No, he's got his own real one. Well, let's check. Let's see where we are.
I said to
So-
Steve, it's like somebody gave Angus, like Angus was a 2-year-old, and somebody gave him some magic markers, and he just started
Magic markers and
drawing
magic
all over the
mushrooms.
walls. Let me put a mustache and a goatee.
He's a fine
See,
lad.
now, but if it was the Angus McEachran show, that would be okay.
What?
But
What would be?
it's
okay?
the Steve Longo show.
Oh,
So it looks like, hey man, why is Steve putting a mustache and a beard on me?
well, right. That's true. And this
Wow.
is her subtle way of telling you don't do that anymore.
He doesn't listen, so
Listen.
I have to have a production meeting with him.
Well, that's what you know. That's what those things are for.
Yeah.
So let's see what else. Oh, I found something cool to play for you. What time is it? Do I have enough? Oh,
Tim
yeah.
thinks it looks great. It-
What does?
Your hair.
Oh,
And
thank
he
you.
was the one that was screaming, "Don't cut your hair! Don't cut your
Who
hair!"
said that? Who was?
Tim McCullen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, Mark Visconti. Too soon for a request for tomorrow? What do you think, Stevie?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe if you really,
What
know.
do you got, Mark? What do you want? What you want, Mark? Our guest is not here yet, so tell us what you want. Oh, that's a zebra song. Tell me what you want. As my dad would say, you got your ears lowered. Looks very nice. That's a Patricia Lawson
Oh,
intro.
okay.
Okay, he wants the band, The Weight. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do. The band, the weight. But, yeah, I do. Well, we'll see.
Okay.
I'll see if I can pull that off for you. Guess who's here?
That would be our guest.
Guess who's here? Okay. Let me turn this up so that I can actually hear him. Come in.
Are you there, bro?
Hey, I'm here, man. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good, good. Good.
Hey, too much glare? Are we okay? I can't really tell.
No, we're really
Great.
good. We're really good at, and we can always fix it in post.
No,
Yeah,
it,
please add a little, for the glare.
No, you're good. It's fine. It's fine. It's good. You look fine.
And hello, Lori.
hey,
How are you?
good. I love your shirt, and I have to tell you, I have told Steve this many times. When I was a kid, I used to color coloring books, and I would make the dolls' clothes those two colors. Like
Well, there you go.
I love
See?
those colors. Yep.
Something in the cosmos.
I
Yeah,
like
well,
it.
yeah. There's plenty in the cosmos. I'll tell you that.
I think you look great.
Yeah, and that's a great background. I love the wood and where in the world?
Okay, look, I don't know if you can see out the window. It's probably a glare, but I'm
It
in
goes
Costa Rica. I'm in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
What's out the
Yeah.
window? Monkeys?
Yeah, what's out the window?
Well, we got banana trees and plantanos and pineapple and all that kind of good stuff.
You're like our third island.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. We have on Fridays. Every Friday, Lenny Kotke comes in from Antigua.
Uh-huh.
Rich Verge comes in from Aruba. And now we've got you in Costa Rica. We are broadcasting now.
From the islands.
That's right. And it's funny, you talk about islands. I was born on an island, Staten Island.
Yeah.
Staten Island.
But I'm bummed.
And I wanted to mention, you're 6 days older than I am, Steve.
Really?
Yes.
What? So are you October? No.
You're 6 days older.
Oh, 6 days. So 27 for you?
Yes.
27? Ah.
Ah. Oh, so that would make you a Libra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. It's all about the balance, Brent.
Yeah, but see, I'm on the other side. I'm
Steve's
the
a Virgo.
virgin.
Ah,
I'm a Libra. I'm with you.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so you guys can balance each other out, and it'll be fun.
Hey, no, thank you so much for the invitation. And I know TJ must have said something nice to you to get me on this thing.
Oh no, you sent me a check.
No, he did not.
No, actually, no. I'll tell you how it happens, and you know, I mean, the truth of the matter is, in this craziness that's going on out there, nobody's playing.
Well,
And you know, I mean, for the past couple of years, so I figured I'd either get in the beginning it was to reconnect with my friends, you know, like guys who are out on the West Coast or guys who are always touring, who I only see once in a while in a nightclub or backstage. I said, this is a great excuse for me to get together with my friends and, you know, have some great catching up conversations. And then I started to meet new people, and it was the same thing. It's like, you know, here I am in a theater in wherever, Sioux City, and there's Bob, and he's playing with Jimmy. This is amazing. So that's what it's about. And you know, and he said you would be, you know, he recommended your banter highly.
yes.
So
Well, I got banter.
You got banter.
I got banter.
Okay.
No, but you know, TJ is quite the character. Of course, you've met Pearl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pearl.
Yeah, he's a hit in Key West, and I like to think that the show you've got going now, I really admire what you're doing, because you're reaching out to people who've had this lifelong compulsion to be involved with our craft, and we can't help it. I mean, we can't help it. We can't say no to any of it. And
Exactly.
so I you know, I'm not one of these guys who's performed with all these big bands or all this stuff, but I've since the '60s, I've been a disciple of music, and however I can purport it, whether it's playing, you know, writing, working with I worked with special needs kids for over 20 years and brought music to that, and there's so much, and so I have some visual aids in case I need them over here.
Okay, sure.
Visual aids. I'll tell you what, I'm going to forget a lot of stuff, because this stuff is going to fly by like the first set of a gig. You know, it's done.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we do part 2 of shows.
Yeah, we have. You know, if it gets too crazy and we need to reschedule, we can always come back.
No.
All right.
That's great.
But I'll tell you the thing. You know, you said about, you know, the compulsion to play. Everybody that plays, you know, isn't necessarily famous or has a resume. Doesn't mean that they're, you know, I mean, it's Johnny B. Good. It's typical. It's the, you know, it's the kid out of nowhere that plays his ass off. And if you're lucky enough to get a gig, and you're lucky enough to play with other players, and you're lucky enough for the cards to fall your way, then you get to have a career. But that doesn't make anyone who has it in their DNA any less of
Special.
a member of my club. Anyway,
That's right.
this club.
That's right.
No, that's very cool. I appreciate that, and I think a lot of us do appreciate that. And I've always been like for the underdog. You know, when I started coming up with music in the '60s, of course, the Beatles and the Ventures and all these things.
The Ventures.
Hey, wait. Okay, here's a visual aid. That's an autographed picture of the Ventures.
Look at the.
wow.
No, I can't see because there's a glare. Are they playing the Mosrites? Are they playing the Mosrites?
And what it was, this is like in '64. I would come out and visit California because I'm, you know, from back east, and I'm at the International House of Pancakes, right? Which is a big deal from somebody from Staten Island.
Right.
I look over and I see Bob Bogle and Mel Taylor from the Ventures. And of course I'm shaking in my boots. And so I got enough nerve to go up and say hi to them. And they were doing a session. So what they did is we followed them to some recording studio, and they ran in and they all autographed and brought out the photo. And that has remained with me, man, since '64, this photograph.
That's great, man. I mean, you know, I'll tell you, I remember I was such a, you know, 64 that was. So we were like, what, 11 or 12?
Yeah, somewhere there.
I mean, I was so, that was, I think it was pre-Beatles, my exposure to the Ventures. I remember the Bat and all the different, all those different songs. And I remember being so impressed when I met somebody that finally had a Mosrite guitar because they all played Mosrites. And as it turns out, the guy that I'm producing now has a 612 Mosrite.
Oh, no kidding. Wow, that's
Yeah, so it's but it's funny what you remember. I mean, that sound and that spring reverb, just amazing.
Since I've been out in Costa here, it's funny. I've been visiting since 2004. I've been a resident for about 4 years now in Costa, and there's like 800 miles of coastline.
Wow.
It's just amazing in a country that's about as big as West Virginia, So you've got all this coastline and all this surfing. And so I come out here, more or less I play kind of a rock, blues, jazz style, my own. But I come down here, I'm thinking, well, you got a lot of great calypso, you got a lot of great reggae, which is common,
Yeah,
but there's nobody's playing surf music, and I see these surfers all over the place. I'm saying, what's happening here? Something's wrong with this picture. So a couple of years ago, I started a trio with a good friend of mine, Jim McDougall, and Los Peatones del Surf. We're the Surf Walkers.
Oh, that's nice. That's excellent, man.
Yeah, and you know what? It just kind of went boom, and then what happened was COVID, like everybody else. But before then, we did some West Coast tours. We played in Panama, Bocas del Toro. So everybody was digging it. And now that things are starting to relax a little bit, the gigs are starting to come back.
I'm gonna try to. I'm
sure you'll come back. Most everybody is coming back.
I'm trying to get a map of it so that we can actually see where it is.
Okay, it's a very, very remote spot of Costa Rica, by the way. It takes quite an effort to get down here.
Let me tell you what.
Okay, well here
I watch these shows, affordable beach houses, and they show Costa Rica, and it looks amazing. Like there's
amazing.
Like rainforest part, and there's monkeys, and it just looks very, very laid back, and
I mean, there you go.
It looks like it has a really good vibe.
That's pretty much. I live on the fringe of the rainforest.
Oh, that must be great.
It's a very beautiful place. The people are beautiful. A lot of talent.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, here it is.
A lot of great things, and I'm really happy to be here. I've actually got the dual residency.
Wow.
And,
cool.
So we're part of the whole system.
That's
and we're having a good time. But I think the reason why I'm talking to you is because not only because of TJ, and my big thing was, like I mentioned earlier, the underdogs, and I've always gone, for the people who need the most help. And so when I was coming up, I used to hear these great albums my father would play, and I'd hear this guitar, I'd be listening through the wall, and it just kind of went through the wall and into my brain, and that was it. I was done. I was finished. The guitar became something so important. But then I'd be looking at the albums, and I'd look at, say, okay, Mr. Guitar, Mr. X, who's playing? No credit. And,
wow.
and that kind of bummed me out. I'm thinking, okay, we've been listening to these guys for 100 years. On TV commercials.
No credits.
No credit. So I decided, I started doing some research, and I said, man, there's some stuff out there about studio guys. I remember Tommy Tedesco had a column. Oh, that's somebody outside. Sorry.
I'm thinking I'm looking behind me, thinking I'm about to get jumped.
No, that's okay.
Children?
Hey, welcome to the jungle, bro.
Hey, man, listen, you can take the New Yorker out of New York. You know what I mean? Wow. Not like I don't have
musicians. I decided, there wasn't a whole lot about it. Tommy Tedesco had Studio Log and Guitar Player magazine, and there were little vignettes of things. And I decided, I've got to step up. I got to do something. And so in the late '90s, I went through a transition. I'm remarried, but I went through a divorce and moved a bunch of times, and it was just real tough. We all have there's a sequence of time where we're just not happening,
Everybody gets out of flux every once in a while.
I was out of flux and flicks and all of it, So, but what happened, Steve, was when that door closes, right, and all of a sudden I had this. I want to start writing. I want to start talking about these guys and let the people know that you've been listening to their music for decades, but you have no idea. You know who the big stars are and the big groups. That's all beautiful. But without these guys, they created the standard, of excellence. The studio musicians in this country are just some of the best players on the planet. No doubt.
Well, I know that.
Yes, and without the road crew.
Yeah, but
you would have
but that was the point of.
It takes a village.
It does take a village, but musically, it's the truth. I mean, if you're going to go out, you're going to put your name on a marquee. Here I am, Joe Friday. Are you going to have schlocky guys playing with her, or are you going to have the best you can get? You know what I mean? That's the thing. And the guys, the funny thing, or ironic thing, I should say, is the guys who are usually the best, unless they're the cream, unless everything went right and they turn into a Duck Dunn, or they turn into,
Waddy Waddell.
Waddy Waddell, or Bird, or anybody else. They're still that good. They still put in the time. They still love to do it. And the thing is with those guys, especially the purists, you give them a gig, the last thing they ask is, how much am I getting paid?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about the music. Yeah, and doing what's best for the music at that moment.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the sharks in this business, of which there are several, they smell that blood in the water, and there's nothing. Hey, kid, you want to be in pictures? I'll make you a star. So
exactly.
It's
when I moved out in the late '70s, I moved from the East Coast. I was playing on the East Coast, and moved out to Southern California about 1977, and I started playing around town. And there was a club we used to play called Charlie's on the Beach. All right. Well, Tommy Tedesco had a condo not far from there. And so I hear that Tommy Tedesco is going to be playing at Charlie's, right? And here's a guy, he even admitted he hadn't played live in 20 years, been in the studios for 20 years, had never played a live gig. And he was a nervous wreck. Tommy Tedesco was a nervous wreck. I mean, it was crazy. I mean,
there's no take two. You know what I mean? And it's funny because, first of all, I totally get that. And I was actually having that conversation today with Lori. All of the bands that I ever played with, I don't think of myself as a studio guy because I spent, 50 to 1 shows to studio gigs. So for me, the whole thing is live and, tomorrow night and so on and so forth. And when you hear that sound, there's nothing like live. There's just nothing like it.
Like live at the Fillmore with Humble Pie.
Right. It's just got an energy about it. And so, certainly I've made my share of records, but I know what you're saying. I mean, these guys are out there doing it every night and never missing a note.
Well, they record a whole album in 3 hours. Think about that.
Well, let me ask you a question. How long does it take to play the song? Right?
That's right.
Song's 3.5 minutes long. We start after 4 and we end on the on the downbeat, and that's it. How long does that take? Should be 3.5 minutes, right?
Right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you hear the result, how pristine everything is, and but what I did, more visual aids, okay?
Bring them on.
All right. So back in the late '90s, when No, I just need to share this with you because I know there's a lot of cats and kitties out there that are kind of in the same ballpark where we love what we do, and it's nice to promote what we do because we think it's good stuff, and I really feel blessed that I'm able to do it because I never studied journalism. I just write about what I love, and I try to represent the people as human beings. There's enough about the guitars and the amps and that's all great, but who's the person, behind the music? What makes them tick? So what I had done when I first did my first article in 97, 98 was of Bob Bain, a name that is not very well known at all, but in the studio industry, he's one of the greatest guitars players of studio icon, period. Probably the most heard guitar player. There's guys that have been, played the most solos, played on the most movies, played on the most TV shows. But Bob is the most heard. From the 40s, from the big bands to early radio to national radio broadcasts to early television and 22 years on the Tonight Show, the Academy Awards. It's insane. So we've heard him since the 40s. Every generation has heard him playing. So I just want to make that statement. In my opinion,
and I'm glad. No, listen. I'm glad you did because that's the whole. It's not the whole thing, but it's a big part of what we're trying to do with this show. Is you see these fantastic players that it's kind of like seeing a painting. All right, I see the painting, but you don't see the 1,000 hours that went into it, and you take those 1,000 hours for granted because they were added in such a way that you get to just relax and see the painting.
You're absolutely right, and people say, "Hey, I see you playing." I said, "Yeah, I'm playing my instrument, but I'm working. I mean, we're working. We're up there." Like you say, thousands of hours of rehearsal, practice, all that stuff, all that sweat, all the crying, all the BS, right? And then you are for those 2 hours. It all, all comes to that moment. It's pretty. Wow.
Well, I mean, and it doesn't really matter. It's interesting. The most excited, I remember we were kids, 12, 13, and we'd be gonna put on a concert in the basement of our guard departments. Sure. We would ride our bicycles down to the hardware store to get the things that plug into the light sockets that make it turn into AC power.
That's right.
We had colored lights and we got to play for about 15 minutes before the authorities got there. But there was, being that excited at 12 years old. Like when you picked the date and you knew there it was on the calendar, there it is. Oh my God, how many? 3 weeks? I don't know if I can wait 3 weeks. I gotta wait 3 weeks. Oh my God. Oh, and every day, and you wake up thinking about it, and you go to sleep thinking about it, and you plan all day long, and it's the greatest. There's nothing better than that. And,
I think you nailed it. There is an excitement and adrenaline and a fellowship. I mean, all that thrown into live music. The music is great, but it's all that other stuff that people who haven't really participated in that, no idea. I mean, they just don't get it. And you can explain it, but until you get your feet wet and jump in, it really is a great experience, especially when you have great camaraderie and jokes and fun going on.
Exactly.
It's greatest.
It's not about a resume. A resume is just a sign of how lucky you got. You know what I mean? That's all that is. I've played with some of the greatest players in the world. Some of them are acknowledged as the greatest players in the world. Some of them will never even be heard. And so I get it, man. I do get it. Nobody joins this club to become famous.
Well,
no.
I hear Lord.
These days they do.
The inspiration, but no. First of all, there's joins this club.
Okay.
To even say you're a member of this club takes 20 years. So, and it doesn't matter how often, how frequent, it just matters that you're in it every day, that you're breathing it. And when you have other people like that around you, man, it's like being saved off a desert island. Like, oh man,
Oh yeah, when things work, it's you're living a kind of a miracle it's all happening spontaneous, and it'll never happen again. And it's just wild to have that go around and through you.
Yeah, man.
People think.
You're right, and I tell you what, I've been lucky enough that all of the stuff that I've been fortunate enough to do over the years has been stuff that I loved doing. Nothing was like, oh, I got to do this again tonight. That's I don't know. That's just not. I've been blessed enough to never have to do a gig I didn't want to do. I've had to work with some people that but the music has always been yes, man. And when you're inside the song, and whether they're 3 feet away from you or however far, you're in it and it's there. And the only thing that connects you to those people is the music, and that's the only thing that matters. That transcends any bullshit. It transcends any static, because if you're up there and you're playing that way, connected to another player, you're experiencing something that not many people will ever know.
Yeah, no, when I started writing, I didn't know where it was going to take me. All right, so more visual aids.
No, it's okay. Listen, we want
my first article was a Bob Bain, and it was a 2-part. What the point I'm trying to make is, I don't know if you can see these.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
sure. Vintage guitar. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vintage guitar. This was my very first article. Never published anything before. I said, boom, they published it. So, and here we are, 2018, and here's my book.
Wow.
You don't give up. You don't stop. If you believe in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I thank the Academy. No,
Really? not this year. Don't thank him this year.
not this
Well,
year, yeah.
different academy.
But the thing is, I didn't know it was ever going to go this far. I had no idea. I started writing for vintage guitar, then just jazz guitar, classic jazz guitar. In the early 2000s, it was just happening. It just started happening. But it was great because I was not in a great place. The late 90s were tough. So it was such a welcoming distraction where I could just write about other people and share what they do and get their names out there, put a face to the sound that they've been listening to for decades. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I was very, very proud about that.
And as it should be.
Okay,
I mean,
now
you
wait.
don't-
What is the
no-
name of the book, and where can people buy
Yeah.
it?
What's the yeah?
Okay, the title of the book is Strings of Memories.
Strings
Ooh,
of memory.
good.
Ah, yes.
very
Okay.
I
It's
like that.
available.
Higher. There you go.
It's available on Amazon and Nook and Kobo, and I have a few autographed copies left. Myself and Bob Bain have signed them, and and let me show you real quick. This was a gift gifted to me from Bob Bain. This is Barney Kessel's the guitar.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes, and this is a very rare item. This I tell you, when I used to speak with Bob, here's Bob. Frank Sinatra would call him at his house to ask him to play on that record. So when I would sit with Bob, and I had many hours with Bob on tape, it felt like the air was different. I felt like I was in this room, like the Pope. I'm going to go that far. I really did. I felt here's a guy who's played with everybody in the business, and I'm trying to capture his essence. And I dedicate there's about a third of the book that's just dedicated to Bob's career and a lot of the early pioneers, Eddie Lang and George M. Smith, George Van Epps, a lot of the guys who created the foundation. And then Bob came in And then the next wave was like Larry Carlton and Steve Lukather, Mitch Holder, and all these
Right.
great guys, Tom Rotella, Tim May, all these great guys that came in right after. And then around the 80s, the synthesizers came in, and then the music kind of like,
Yeah.
technology. But I've tried to promote these guys and their work as much as I can, because everything has a beginning. You know, I think, you know, when you're an infant in a crib, all right, somebody's got a radio on, somebody's got a TV on. So it's you're absorbing the sound from or even while the child's in the womb.
No question. I don't even want to. The musical epiphanies that I've had over the years, especially in my earliest years, I told somebody in school upon hearing music in an auditorium for the first time,
In
the
kindergarten,
ambience in
yeah.
kindergarten. I told the girl sitting next to me, when the drums started playing, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I have never hit a drum before in my life.
Never
I
saw
didn't.
a drum.
I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know anything about any of it. All I knew was my mother was telling me that, because it was the high school band coming to our elementary school. She said, "You're going to see one of the best," because the guy was just an incredible band leader, and she was right. And man, so.
Okay, there's a question
Oh,
for you,
we have
Jim.
a question. Jim.
Red Dog
Jeff.
Yes.
wants to know, he said, vintage guitar, did you work for them or did you do some articles?
I wrote a bunch of articles for them starting in the late 90s through like 2004. And then I started writing, okay, more visual aids. I heard a young kid on YouTube playing. He was from Ireland, busking in Ireland with his dad. And I'm thinking, first I thought I was listening to George Benson, somebody that good. And then I realized, is this like this 12-year-old kid?
Wow.
So I contacted Ed Benson from Just Jazz Guitar. I said, hey, you know, I've done these other articles for you and everything. It's been great. I said, I just heard this kid, you know, we should talk to him. And there he is on the cover. I did the cover.
Wow.
Who is it? Up a little higher.
Yeah, put it up
Andreas
higher.
Garrity.
Okay.
Okay.
I had to give him the plug because super talented kid. But I just want to say, it can happen if you believe in it.
Oh,
That's all I'm telling you.
You know
You know
what?
what I mean? And then I don't know if you're a big Hank Garland fan, and there was a movie that came out called Crazy about the life and times of this really great studio guitarist. It was produced by Steve Vai.
Really? Oh, crazy.
Oh, you got to check it out. So
Okay.
what they had done, I went to see my friend Dan Sawyer play with Tom Rotella, just these monster guitar players. I mean, just, you know, you just whoa, you know, you're in awe, right? So Dan knew I was a writer, I had done things, and he said, hey, I have to tell you about this project I just did. I said, yeah, tell me about it, man. He said, well, Steve Vai and these people are creating this movie about the legendary studio musician Hank Garland. I said, oh, that is so stinking cool. Anything about a real life musician is great.
Yeah.
So he goes, well, what we did, because he did a lot of the stuff on Patsy Cline, Elvis, all those classic tunes, right? So they got the original recordings. They had Larry Coons, who's another monster guitar player in the West Coast, replicate all the jazz stuff. And Dean Parks, who's another, you know, denizen of the studios, replicate all the country stuff. So what they didn't want was to show the actors' hands completely out of sync, which is, you know what I'm talking about.
Of course I do.
You gotta
I
leave the
hate
room.
that.
You gotta
I
leave
hate
the
that.
room. So Dan Sawyer, another great guitar player, friend of mine, studio musician, what he did, he learned all the parts, and he would wear whatever the actor who was portraying Hank Garland in the movie, he would put on that shirt, and whenever they showed his hands, it was Dan Sawyer's hands. Made parts. So my article was called Hank's Hands. Yeah, and it was just talking about how the whole thing came down. It was the director Rick Baker was a guitar player. Steve Vai produced it, so it was directed by a guitar player, produced by guitar players, about a guitar player. And it's a very interesting story because there's a lot of strangeness that occurred around his death, and his attempted death, and it's a very good story. If you haven't seen it, I highly.
I absolutely. First of all, I'm very proud of Steve Vai. He used to come to see us play when he was too young to come and see us play. And to watch his career and what he's done over the years has been phenomenal. And he's a great player, and it's amazing what everybody's done. But well,
you know what I think is really cool? I think that if it weren't for people like Jim, the guitar player he saw that was busking on the streets in Ireland would not have been on the cover of that magazine.
But that's, excellence always finds a voice.
So here's to you, Jim.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And a few years later, Quincy Jones produced his first solo album.
Really?
So I'm really happy. Sweet guy, sweet family, everybody. The father, Bandy plays bass, his brother plays drums, and this killer trio. I saw him play Donna Lee at McCabe's in Santa Monica. I mean, thankfully I was sitting down at the time because it just knocked me out, so I just love that there's talent. One benefit of the internet, I don't think a day goes by where I'm not floored by talent.
Oh, it's
all sizes, all colors. I don't care. The talent is just like poof, poof, poof.
It's creativity really is what it is. A lot of people poo-poo the digital age because things are so easy. Yeah, it's not. It just makes it just gives you more opportunities to be incredibly creative. And if you use something differently than everybody else does, then you're an innovator, and that's that's all you can ever try to be, is original and true to yourself and what gives you the joy to play. And that's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do. And the fact that that you commit it to the page so that other people can enjoy it, that's pretty cool, man. I mean,
well, I thank you very much, and I'm also proud. I got the book in a bunch of libraries, and then I found out, okay, this is another. You don't know until you try something, right? You got to try it. No one's going to do it for you. So one day I'm just looking on the internet, and I hear about this Barney Kessel project out of the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And so I look at it and I say, man, Barney Kessel, that is so cool. The group of the staff and alumni, they got together and they put together this thing. So I contacted him. I said, hey, by the way, I said, I've written this book and I've got a lot of really pertinent information because I interviewed family, siblings, not promoters, none of that stuff. Everybody's behind the scenes. So I'm getting stuff literally from the horse's mouth that's not printed anywhere. So I'm happy to tell you that my book is going into it's a private library on the campus. It's the LABUDDE Special Collections Library at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, that is only for scholars and educators.
Oh, man, right. we have a here we go.
We have a scholar on our show.
Scholars.
Oh, thank you, Shar.
Yeah, scholar.
Stars.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Shar, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Scholar.
Listen, I'll take it. I said, but it just took me to ask. It took me just to throw it out there, and they got the book, and they said they did it, and I don't know, it's things that happen like that you don't think about.
Well, I mean, think about this. You and I, as we established early on in the broadcast, we're 6 days apart in age.
Yes.
And I remember we've been in Florida now for 17
Almost
years,
18
almost
years,
18
yep.
years. And I remember coming down here kicking and screaming because I thought, well, this is the end of the world. This is where you go to die.
Yes.
I've had the most fruitful career since I've been down here. And then just when it starts to wind, it's like, okay, I did a couple of other things and I wasn't looking for anything to do. And all of a sudden, I realized there's not one but two record deals out there. And I'm excited to get up every day and work on the new material. And it's like, which record do I want to work on today? And it's like, I'm jumping around like a 12-year-old
It's always
kid.
when you're not
And-
looking
and-
that it happens.
Yeah, it's only when you're not looking. And I really, I remember so clearly and vividly while I was describing to you that us playing in the basement, that thrill of holy shit, I get to do this again. I still have it. I mean, you know how old we are, and
Yes.
man, instead of getting up going, oh, where am I playing today? Or oh, what I got? I'm like, yes, I get to walk into the studio and invent and create and it's a trip, man. So, and I'm very excited. I really, out of all the records that I've done over the years, every record could be your last, no matter how old you are. But I'm working on this rarities collection of stuff that I have. I was in there digitizing stuff from that John Entwistle and I wrote, bass and drum parts and different things like that to assemble them together. But I'm also doing, for the first time, a solo record, and it's like, I get to just run around in this space and be as nuts as I want to be.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so believe me, it's good to wake up and be excited. It's not without a price, as you know, but we live it every day, and the truth is, I don't have a choice. I would be like a plant without water if I was selling used cars or doing something that I wasn't passionate about doing. Not saying that isn't a good thing to do, because I have a friend who does it, and he's the happiest guy I know. But the trick is to do something that you love, so it's never work.
That's right.
Right? So that's
That's absolutely true. I mean, living in California on the East Coast and then the West Coast, I've done several sessions in the 70s. I did a session of my tunes. We recorded 6 tunes and mixed them all in one day. And within 3 months, I had a letter from Barry Menace, who's a entertainment attorney in Los Angeles, wanting to promote my music in Japan.
wow.
And I said, wait a second, we just had a rehearsal. We recorded these songs. Right? And things like that happened. Then in the 80s, I did another session, had more good luck. You come real close. But, okay. So, you invest all on my dime. You know how it is. You do the thing. You record. You get the musicians. You write the tunes. You rehearse. And now, here it is. Then I did a big session in the late 90s. Now I've got a lot of these tunes out on DistroKid. There's that website, DistroKid. So, most of my songs are out there on YouTube and all these different places. And that's like, finally, even though some of them are from the 70s, they're still valid. Because, the tones, of course, are a little dated because, it's just older.
I did master it.
8-track, 8-track, 1/4-inch tape. Kayakagi on keyboards. He became Miles Davis' last keyboard player.
Wow.
I recorded my stuff with him in the 70s, all right? He's now the professor of jazz at Irvine University, all right? So all these things happen. And so, you kind of forget. I forget sometimes what you've done. Some recordings, you've done.
You're too busy doing it. You're still doing it. I'm not looking backwards. And if there's something that I haven't seen before, I have to look forwards. But listen, I tell you what we're gonna do. Did Angus send you the questions? Did you get the questions? The 5 questions?
No, I didn't get those questions.
You didn't get the 5 questions?
Oh, that's right. They're easy.
All right, they're easy questions. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pay.
9.5 wide.
I'm gonna play a commercial. I'll meet you back here in about a minute, and I'll give you the 5 questions. This is the musical test of your life.
Christ. All right. Thank you.
All right, I'll meet you back here.
We'll see a few.
All right. So hold on. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
Okay.
Most of you know I live in Southwest Florida now, and one of my favorite places to grab a bite to eat is Jason's Deli. Scott and Dianna Willis have been in business here for over 20 years. The truth is, Jason's Deli has bigger choices of better food. You can eat healthy and enjoy the taste of quality ingredients. They're open 7 days a week for dine-in, pick-up, or deli delivery. With 4 convenient locations from Naples to Cape Coral, Florida, they are a must-try. Jason's Deli, where all good things come from wholesome ingredients. And Bradley's Jewelers in South Fort Myers. Diamonds, bridal, you name it, estate, custom design, and expert repair. Bradley's Jewelers, South Fort Myers. They specialize in amazing moments.
And there we go.
Yes.
That was
Yeah. I'm hungry now.
I know. Everybody says that.
Everybody says that, and I'll tell you what. Coming from New York and coming down here and finding that place, I would advertise that place for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. But are there delis in Costa Rica?
No, not delis. But I tell you what's so interesting about this place, Steve and Lori, is that nothing is contained. Everything's open. You have a ceiling, you have a floor, maybe a wall left, and that's it. Everything is open all the time. The temperature inside my house right now is exactly the same outside.
Right.
Wow.
Because
So
of
I walk out in the morning, have a cup of coffee, my chonies, and I'm just standing there going, okay, hello, Mr. Monkey. Hello, Mr. Perezoso. Hello, Giant Macaw. I mean, it's really a fantastic place.
Right.
It really, well, for me, as a kid growing up, besides music, it's music I kind of lost myself in, and then critters, little animals and reptiles. So when I first came here in 2004, I'm getting closer to the coast, and I can feel myself like shaking, like something was happening. Like there was an energy. It's like you hear that expression, you get into something. It was the opposite. I mean, it got into me. I mean, I could feel myself. I said, man, I feel so at rest. It's so peaceful here. I felt like, man, it's just like I'm home. And in a way, it was like I'm home. It was.
There you go. I mean, it's part of the thread.
It's a wonderful thing, And so, what are the questions? I'm sorry.
Okay, here it comes. Okay, you're in Costa Rica. You've been to a few places in your life. You're traveling. Favorite place, favorite restaurant on the road, anywhere in the world. Doesn't have to be shishi.
Well, I can tell you when we played in Panama, there's this little place called Doghouse Pizza. That should tell you everything.
It does in Panama. Good.
Yeah, and it was in Bocas del Toro. That's where Jimmy Buffett sold. Well, I shouldn't say sold. I'd say sowed his wild oats, and so we played there. There was this little hole in the wall, and I tell you what, man. When you're playing in, all I knew were the members of the band. I mean, I didn't know anybody.
Oh yeah. Well,
you find this little hole in the wall, and it's like my favorite little pizzeria. It just belongs to me, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
so that was a great experience being in Bocas del Toro, eating in this little hole in the wall. But it's all about the vibe.
I hear you.
The vibe was just so good.
That's why we asked the question.
Yeah,
'cause we're
some of
looking
our
for the
favorite
vibe.
places are holes in the wall.
Yeah, I mean that's it does it. It's kind of like a stereo mix. Nobody sees how it got there. They hear left and right. That's what they hear. However, it could. When I was learning to play golf, I'm trying to ask all these educated questions, and my coach said to me, the ball really doesn't care how you get it to the hole. So anyway.
So there.
Okay, so moving right. I got my
Number two.
signal. So number 2, set list comes out. Doesn't matter who you're playing with and when. Favorite song to play live. Oh man, we're playing this tonight. Favorite song to play live.
Well, believe it or not, with this group, we play. I don't know if you've seen the animated film Rango with the lizard, the chameleon.
Yeah.
All right. At the end, while they roll in credits, there's a tune that they play, and it's Rango theme rolling, and that's when we play that. That's one of my favorite. Now with this band, it's crazy because it's like this country vibe, but it's kind of a rocked out country instrumental.
Yeah.
Man, when we play that, people say, I've heard that before. It sounds like the Shadows or something, but I've heard it. I said, well, if you've seen that movie and if you've stayed for the credits, because it's not but it's the ending credits.
I always stay for the credits. I've been in the credit roll. I understand
All right,
the
there
credit
you
roll.
go.
I know the credit roll.
You watch Rango theme credit roll, and
I'll listen to it. I'll
And
fast
the
forward
music
through the whole
credits
thing.
are always the last.
Yeah, they're always.
And it's a really great film too, I think. Anyway.
Oh well, then we'll have to check it out.
No,
They're
check it
highly
out,
recommended. Okay,
Thank you.
next one. Set list comes out. You're not so happy to see this song. I don't want to play this song now or ever again. Great song, look, but what's that song?
Well, you don't want to mention us, because then yeah. Well, there's. I don't know if it's a song or if the vibe doesn't feel right. Now I've been in a situation where the crowd is that, and then you look at the set list and you've done everything. You've done everything. And although what we used to play when I was playing in California with a really great trio, Doug Johnson on drums, Trevor Lindsay on bass, we used to do it. I shouldn't say I didn't like it, but we did the Marcus Miller version of Frankenstein, Jaeger Winter tune.
Really?
And he does it's more or less the song is there, but it's kind of an involved tune. And so it's one of those tunes where you're playing it, you want to enjoy it, but at the same time, there's no like not being on your mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's certain tunes that, okay, this is one of those tunes that, hi everybody, but I'm not making any eye contact with anybody. I'm just going to play the song. But it's a good tune. But it's
Okay, so Frankenstein, but Marcus Miller's version.
Marcus Miller version of it.
I got to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets funky. That's all I can say.
Oh, I'm sure. Marcus. Come on. That's.
Yeah.
I never played with him. I played with Stanley, but I never played with Marcus. But he's a monster. I mean, those are the real guys.
They're real as real can be.
Okay, so you're a guitar player born and bred, right? But if you couldn't play guitar, but you could absolutely kill at any other instrument on the planet, piccolo, Chinese gong bells, anything, what would you pick?
I love the drums. I would love to play. When I sit behind the drums, it's like, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. I just feel comfortable behind a set of drums. Now, I played drums in some gigs, just grooves. I've no fancy solos, but I have a lot of appreciation for drummers, and I get people left and right. I tell you what, they say, oh, I can do that. So everybody comes out and they sound like a monkey. Okay, now hold the groove for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So what's the average length of a song? Say 3 minutes. Now just go boom, bop, boom, for 3 minutes without any deviation at all. Almost impossible for any human being. Again, going back to the studio musicians, how no punchings, no nothing. It was all live, but it was perfection. John Robertson, all these greats.
Because that's the way it's supposed to be. There's not, that's what it's supposed to be. All right, now I got a feeling this is going to be a good one. And kids at home watching, write these names down because you may not know them all. But if you could play one gig with anybody or any group of guys living or dead, who would it be?
Well, I tell you what, if I could do a gig with some of the guys that have had the honor of interviewing some of the studio musicians, to do a gig with those guys, and I've done some playing with some of them on gigs, but I mean to do a real bona fide gig, man, you know, that would be it, because I just have so much admiration and respect for these guys. You know, they go, Jim solo. I said, no, I'm just gonna comp. That's fine. I'll just comp, you know, because there's something so beautiful, and you know, the magic and these, you know, it's just, if I was a painter, you know, my favorite, I would be in a room with all these painters, and I wouldn't touch the brush. I would just watch them and be in awe of everything. And that's how I feel about it. I'm really crazy about these unknown guys, because they mean so much to me, and they've given so much of their talent.
And that really is you know, that's at the core of this show. There's a lot more musicians, excellent, phenomenal, inventive musicians than there are stars.
Right.
Well, but I didn't mention their names. Okay.
Go ahead, lay it on them.
Mitch Holder, Tim May, Tom Rotella, Dan Sawyer, John Kernick. These are guys that I hold very dear to me. It's hard to explain. You know what it is.
Not to me. I know what it is. It's impossible to explain.
You know, when I sit there and watch them play, I'll never forget that. I was sitting with Bob Bain watching Mitch Holder play one time. All right. And he takes a chord solo. And, you know, chord solos are very difficult. All right.
Oh, yeah.
He's just flying through the solo. And Bob just looks at me. We just shake our heads. It's like, it doesn't get it. And here we are, like 3 feet away from Mitch playing this stuff. And that's the greatest experience. You're going back to the live music. That's another thing, you know, is experiencing live music. And and I want to jump back to the special education thing. And you mentioned Steve Vai. We talked about Steve Vai. He's done a lot of great things. He's contributed numerous instruments to various organizations for kids who are troubled, behavioral disorder, all this stuff. So I have a great admiration for that guy.
Yeah.
You know, even if a guy couldn't play guitar, if I didn't know him, just the fact that I know that he did that. Yeah. And I can tell you from personal experience, I remember sitting at in a presentation with this child psychiatrist, and they're talking about this and that, what the kids, you know, how to approach the kids. And I was telling them about, well, you know, I incorporate music daily in the classroom. And I've worked with severely handicapped, moderate, severe, high functioning, elementary through post-secondary, all right, over 20 years, privately, independently. I mean, every combination, believe me, I've been to places, Steve, where most people would fear to tread, all right? But I felt totally at home in that environment, just like Costa Rica. I just walk in, and these are all these little innocent, clean slates, these children, and it's up to you to fill their life with something, anything, because they're so discarded by society, and it's really a shame. When I started, Steve, there were maybe 1 in 500 being born with the autism spectrum, the syndrome. Now there's less than 1 in 48.
Wow.
Okay, where are we all going? Nobody talks about it. Who's going to take care of these kids? Where are they going to go? I've worked with kids 24. You have to have an eye on them 24/7.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they're growing up. Where are they going to go? So this is there's a lot of opportunity for people if they just give it a shot. If you just get past that threshold, let it do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because these kids and young adults and adults, they're just waiting for the opportunity, somebody to approach them.
Well, if you're going after something that you truly love, the fear subsides for the want of doing it. So that's, you just have to find what you're passionate about, and you know, it's different for everybody. Luckily, everybody doesn't want the same thing, but everybody does want to enjoy their lives. So and music has certainly helped me enjoy mine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
And,
man,
but-
no, just real quick, when you see, I call them miracles because you witness this stuff happening that you will not witness anyplace else. You just won't. And the only way you can witness is if you decide that you're going to be there when it happens.
yeah.
You're creating this magic. I put on these little faux, America's Got Talent. And I'd have this one girl, she was Miss Dianna, says, "Oh, I want to sing." I said, "Beautiful." I said, "You pick any song you want. Some Selena song, okay? Okay, you and I were going to practice it. Now here we are now, just me and guitar and this disabled individual. No karaoke, no tracks, no nothing. We get up there. We have about 50 kids. All the classes are all there watching us, right? She starts crying. Forget it. All right, next time. All right, I get it. She was frightened. All right. The next week, we tried again. I said, okay, now here's what we're going to do. I said, everybody in the audience, turn around. Just turn your seat around, turn around. I said to her, just look at me. It's you and me. And we did Dreamin'. It's a really lovely Selena song that she wrote. Beautiful song. And I tell you what, she went through that thing. Everybody turns around. They give her standing ovation. She's weeping and I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And after we finished the first thing, she goes, "Mr. Dianna, I want to do another song next week."
Oh,
That's great.
yeah.
And then she helped me assist some of the other kids. And so it's just the opportunity. You could be the greatest drummer in the world. If somebody said, "Here, Steve, let me show you these drums." You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
Sit
of
down
course
here.
I know what you're saying.
And
I
it's
know what you're saying.
And it's with these kids. And so they would anytime there was a problem, they said, "Get Mr. Jim." And there's child's having a bad day. Like we all do, but they express themselves differently.
Yeah, well, listen, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting rewarded by my fans. Thank you, my
That's a
beautiful
star.
people. Before I let you go, let me remind you about if Angus didn't tell you about Friday nights. On Fridays we have the free for all. And which basically means anybody that's ever been on the show comes in, and it's just a big party on Friday night. So you're now indoctrinated into the
club.
group.
I love to participate.
Oh, you got it. I'll make sure that Angus hits you with the invite for sure.
Hey, can I show you a couple more things before you go?
Sure.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, this is the proof. This is late 60s, this photograph, that at one time, I'm channeling Jimi Hendrix now.
I see. I saw that before.
and anyway, a couple things. Another thing I'm very proud of. Just before I moved down here, I hooked up with Lisa Johnson. She wrote a tremendous photographer, 108 Rockstar guitars. And after sitting with her, we swapped books. And I before I moved down here in 2018, I set up a photo shoot for Bob Bain's guitars, and his guitars are in her new book, Immortal Axes.
Wow.
Yes. So Bob Bain, probably one of the first studio guitar players to have his guitars in an actual guitar.
That's amazing.
Right. So I feel good about that. Right. But I also work for NAMM on the NAMM Oral History Project, where I orchestrated and arranged for. What had happened was, real quick, I'm going to be throwing things out
There's no such thing.
Okay, sorry. All right, when I came out with my book, for some reason, I contacted George Groom Vintage Guitars in Nashville. And I said, "Listen, I've got this book," and so I sent him a copy. And so he contacts me in a couple of weeks. He goes, I've been in this business. In fact, I've got a quote on the website for the book. I've been in this business for 100 years. And there's things I never knew before till I opened this book. I thought I knew everything. And I said, "Man, that's great." So he had me come down. This was NAMM 2014. He had me do a book signing at Groom's Guitars. It was his 45th anniversary. It was great. It was during NAMM. So what had happened was all these people are coming in. I'm sitting there with my book. I can't believe I'm sitting there at Groon's Guitars. And I met the NAMM historian, Dan Del Fiorentino. So I gave him a copy of the book. So he says, Jim, we want to interview some of these studio guys. You can get them. You can get them. Well, I know these guys. And I said, sure. So I arranged to have these interviews with a lot of these guys. And I had the interview. I got the interview with the Whale, Ray Shear. I don't know if Ray Shear created Guitar Center.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yes, he created Guitar Center. So when he sold Guitar Center, because I know the writing was on the wall for a lot of these guys in that business, he only did one interview for Fortune 500. He didn't want to talk to anybody. I got him. So he
All right.
Now, that's great. That's excellent.
Okay,
We're gonna have
Yeah,
we're gonna have to do part two. That's all
Okay,
there
no,
is
I'd
to
love
it.
to.
Yeah,
No,
we'll
this
have
is great. I
Angus
appreciate
set it
it.
up. And
Yes.
one of our viewers, Shar, says, thank you for believing in these kids.
Yeah, that's
There you
great,
go.
man. Keep
You know,
up the
and
good
Char,
work.
thank you for recognizing that. It just takes a couple of seconds to say hello, goodbye. That you don't have to
Right.
go. Just smile. That's
Yeah.
all you need to do.
But as I like to say, if everybody did a little, a lot would get done.
That's
so
right. But we're
on
gonna
that
have
happy
you back.
note,
All right.
Jim, this has been a blast.
Yeah.
To be continued. I hope we'll see
Yeah.
you Friday.
All right.
I'm going to come back for the Costa Rica report. So we have things to do.
Yes,
No,
and people,
thank
go
you very
buy
much.
his book.
I appreciate it. You contact me anytime. I'm an open book, bro.
I'll do it, my friend. And I'll do it.
Strings of Memories.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Oh, can I read one thing?
Sure.
All right. Hold on. All right. So when I was putting my book together, compiling, so I wanted to.
Wait a minute. I want to count those pages first. No, okay.
When I was compiling, I said, well, it would be nice to have some people in the industry, say a couple nice things about Bob Bain and their experience. So I'm going to read you a letter. Here are a few words about Bob Bain, which I hope may be helpful for your project. Well known within the music industry, but an unsung hero to the public at large, Bob Bain has been one of the major contributors to the American popular music scene for several decades. All right. I treasure my years in musical association with Bob Bain, and I am delighted that this publication will bring to the attention of the larger public the life and work of this marvelous artist. Can you see the signature and the name?
And I can't. It's got to go up. John Williams, the composer.
Yes, John. He was the
Excellent.
first one. John Williams was the first one to respond, and that just kicked my ass.
Wow,
I said,
that's
I gotta do it. There's no turning back now.
talk about somebody who's been heard. John Williams has been heard. But listen, I'm going to drag you out way past dinner time, and it's an important
Thank you very
ritual.
much.
Thank you for
Yes,
being here,
and we'll
Jim.
have you back again.
Yeah, we'll do
No,
part two of this.
Listen, gotta spread the love, bro.
Amen. I hear you, bro.
And the people loved you.
Yeah, it was
there you
great.
go.
All right, well, thank you.
Take care of yourself. We'll see you
Bye,
soon.
Jim.
No,
Take care,
yeah,
man.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Wow, that was awesome. That was really good.
Man,
Yeah, so,
that's someone that likes helping people and making a difference in people's lives.
but you see, the thing about it is, and, I mean, I know what I know of my guys that influenced me in my time, but he's got like that real deep appreciation for the guys who aren't the household name,
Yep.
and that's that's pretty cool.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. So
He was a great guy. So,
So-
we'll have him back.
Yes, we'll have
We will
Jim
definitely
back,
have Jim Dianna back.
and we'll get him to do the Costa Rica report.
We should have him read a little bit of his book too.
We could do that,
Yeah.
that and more.
Okay, so tomorrow night is Anything Goes Wednesday. So far, we only have one request.
Only one request?
Yes, and that's
Oh,
from
wow.
Mark Visconti.
Okay, and he wants
the band,
the weight. He
the
wants the weight. Yeah.
So no one else has asked for anything. So
Nobody cares. They've
we'll
heard
just
everything.
pick some stuff out for you. And
They don't care. They just don't
you know they were so interested in what Jim was saying, they didn't even think about it. It's not that they don't care, Steve. So
If I
we'll
don't
see
see
you
you in
tomorrow
the
night.
future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, kids. Be safe.